There is a pattern in your life, Aries, that keeps repeating. And the universe keeps showing it to you because you have not yet fully received the lesson it is carrying. This is not happening to punish you. It is not happening because you are weak or slow or somehow failing at life. It is happening because you are strong enough to handle the truth of it. It is happening because the universe does not waste its teachings on those who cannot grow from them, and it has never once doubted your capacity to grow. This pattern is showing up again because you are ready, maybe more ready than you have ever been, to break free from it once and for all. These 11 signs show that the cycle is moving through again, and this time, you have everything you need to change the outcome. This time you carry the awareness, the experience, and the inner strength to stand at the crossroads of this familiar pattern and choose a different road. The question is not whether you can. The question is whether you will. The question is whether you are willing to truly see what has been repeating, and to do the one thing that has always scared you most, which is not the bold external action you are so famous for, but the quiet, courageous internal act of choosing differently from the inside out. Read these signs with honesty, Aries, not with judgment, not with shame, but with the clear eyes of someone who is finally completely ready to be free. Sign 1. You find yourself in a situation that feels familiar in an uncomfortable way. You have been here before. Not in the surface details, perhaps. Not in the same place with the same people doing exactly the same things. But in the feeling. In the quality of the situation itself. There is a texture to it that you recognize, even if you cannot immediately put your finger on why. It settles into your chest with a kind of weight that is too specific, too loaded to be coincidence. And that recognition, that familiar discomfort, is the first sign that the pattern is present again. Aries, you are a person who moves forward. Your natural orientation is toward what is next, toward the new horizon, toward the action that gets you somewhere different from where you have been. And this quality has served you beautifully in many areas of your life. But it has also, at times, allowed you to move forward without fully processing what happened behind you. And the things we do not process have a way of reconstructing themselves in front of us, in new forms, in new settings, with new faces, until we finally stop and sit with them long enough to actually learn from them. The situation you find yourself in right now, the one that carries that particular uncomfortable familiarity, is the pattern presenting itself again. And the discomfort you feel is important. It is not just unpleasantness. It is information. It is your deeper self recognizing what your surface mind might still be resisting. It is your inner knowing tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Look carefully. You know this territory, but this time you can navigate it differently." The temptation when you find yourself in a familiar, uncomfortable situation is to either lean into it because it is known, even if the known is painful, or to turn away from it and move on before things get difficult. Both of those impulses are understandable, and both of them, if followed without consciousness, lead back to the same place. The pattern continues precisely because those are the two responses you have given it before. What is different this time is that you are aware. And awareness, true awareness, the kind that comes from sitting honestly with the discomfort instead of running from it or defending against it, is the beginning of real change. You do not need to have all the answers yet. You do not need to know exactly what to do. You simply need to stay present, to stay honest, to resist both the pull toward the familiar pain and the pull away from the necessary reckoning. Because the reckoning is where the freedom lives, and you are standing right at the edge of it. Sign 2. A person who reminds you of someone from your past has entered your life. The face is different. The name is different. The setting, the circumstances, the surface details of the story are all new. But something about this person feels extraordinarily familiar. The way they make you feel. The dynamic that is already beginning to form between you. The energy that moves in the space between you. Something about all of it echoes. Something about it carries the shape of someone, or something, from a chapter of your life that is already supposed to be closed. This is not an accident. And it is not bad luck. The universe is precise in its methods. When a person who carries the energy of someone from your past enters your life, it is because there is something in that old dynamic that was never fully resolved. Something that you walked away from without completing the lesson it contained. And now, in a new form with a new face, the universe is giving you another opportunity to meet that energy, to work with it, to respond to it differently than you did before. Aries, your loyalty runs deep. And so does your pain when loyalty has been betrayed. When trust has been broken. When the fire of your love or your friendship or your partnership has been used against you rather than honored. You carry these things, sometimes longer than you realize. And when someone enters your life who carries the same energy as a person who once hurt you or confused you, or caused you to doubt yourself, your old responses rise up quickly. The old walls, the old patterns of relating, the old version of yourself that learned a particular way of managing that particular kind of person. But here is what the universe is asking of you this time. It is asking you to see this new person as a new person, not as the old wound wearing a new face. It is asking you to bring your current self into the encounter, the self who has grown, who has learned, who carries more wisdom and more self-awareness than you had the last time you navigated this kind of energy. It is asking you to respond from where you are now, not from where you were then. This does not mean you should be naive. This does not mean you should ignore genuine warning signs or override your instincts in favor of being optimistic. Your instincts, Aries, are one of your most powerful tools, and they deserve your respect. What it means is that you should let this new person be genuinely new. Give the dynamic a chance to develop differently. And if you find yourself slipping into the old pattern, catch yourself with kindness. Notice it. Choose again. That is the whole work of this particular sign. And it is powerful work. Sign 3. You are making a choice that a part of you knows you have made before. There is a decision in front of you. Maybe it is large and obvious, the kind you have been agonizing over consciously. Maybe it is small and almost invisible, the kind that sneaks past your awareness wrapped in the clothing of normalcy. But whatever size it appears to be, some part of you, some quiet interior voice, has been gently noting that this choice looks familiar, that you have stood at this exact fork before, that you know with an uncomfortable precision where each road leads. Aries, one of the deepest gifts you carry is your instinct. You are wired to know. Your fire does not just fuel your action, it illuminates your perception. And so when a part of you says, I have been here before, that is not anxiety talking. That is not pessimism. That is your deepest intelligence recognizing a pattern that your surface mind might prefer to overlook, because overlooking it is easier than facing what it means. What it means is this: the choice in front of you is real, and the version of yourself who shows up to make it will determine which road you take. If the unconscious version of you makes this choice, the version that is acting from habit, from the path of least resistance, from the old programming that has governed this particular area of your life for years, you will choose the familiar road. And the familiar road leads exactly where it has always led. But if the conscious version of you makes this choice, the version that has been woken up by everything you have been feeling lately, the one who is sitting with these signs and taking them seriously, that version has access to a different choice. A choice that is harder, perhaps. A choice that requires more courage or more honesty or more willingness to disappoint someone or to face your own fear. But a choice that does not lead back to the beginning of the same cycle. A choice that takes you somewhere genuinely new. The fact that you recognize this choice is the gift. Many people walk right into the familiar pattern without ever knowing it is happening. You see it. And seeing it, really seeing it with open and honest eyes, is the difference between repeating the pattern and breaking it. Use what you see, honor the recognition, and let it guide you toward the choice that your future self will thank you for. Sign 4. The feeling of tension before a storm is settling in your chest again. You know this feeling. It is not quite dread. It is not quite excitement. It is something in between, something that sits heavy and expectant in the center of your chest, as though the air itself is thickening around a moment that has not yet arrived, but that is unmistakably on its way. You have felt this before. In fact, you have felt it before the exact kind of events that this pattern tends to produce. And your body, with its long memory, its deep recording of every emotional event you have ever lived through, is flagging it now, warning you, preparing you. The tension you are feeling is not to be dismissed as anxiety or nervousness, or the general stress of a busy life. Of course, stress is real, and it has its own particular feeling. But this is different. This tension has a specific quality, a specificity that links it to a particular thread in your life, rather than to the general overwhelm of daily pressures. And that specificity is important. It is your body's way of telling you that something familiar is approaching, something that has produced this precise quality of anticipation before. Aries, your body is one of your most reliable instruments. You are a physical being, a fire being, a being who experiences truth as much through sensation as through thought. And when your body speaks with this kind of specificity, it deserves your full attention. Not the panicked, reactive attention of someone who is bracing for disaster, but the clear, grounded attention of someone who has been given advance notice and intends to use it wisely. The question this sign raises for you is not what is about to happen, because you may not be able to know that with certainty. The question is, how do you want to meet it? Because this time, unlike the times before, you are not going into the approaching storm blind. You are going in with your eyes open. You are going in with the awareness that this is part of a pattern, and that patterns only change when the person at the center of them decides, consciously and with full commitment, to respond differently. Let the tension inform you rather than control you. Let it sharpen your awareness. Let it remind you to stay present, to stay honest with yourself, to keep returning to your own center, rather than getting swept up in the momentum of the familiar story. Because the storm is coming. That is already decided. But the Aries who meets it this time is not the same Aries who met it before. And that difference changes everything. Sign 5. You are attracting the same energy you thought you had walked away from. You did the work. You changed things. You left a situation, a relationship, a job, a dynamic, a way of life that was no longer serving you. You made the hard choices, took the difficult steps, and began again somewhere else. And for a while, everything felt genuinely different. You breathed easier. You moved with more lightness. You felt that particular relief of having broken free. But then slowly, subtly, the familiar energy began to appear again. Not in the exact same form. Not in the same person or the same situation. But in the same feeling. In the same dynamic beginning to reconstruct itself around you. In the same quality of experience presenting itself once more in your life. Wrapped in different packaging, but carrying the same essential content. This is one of the hardest signs to face, Aries, because it challenges a story you worked hard to write for yourself. The story that you left something behind and moved forward. And you did leave it. That is true and real. But the universe is showing you, through this recurring energy, that there is a root you have not yet addressed. A root that lives not in the external situation you walked away from, but in the internal patterns that drew that situation to you in the first place. This is not a judgment. This is one of the most fundamental truths about how patterns work. We do not attract things because we deserve them or because we are damaged or because we are cursed. We attract things because of the invisible signals we put out, signals that are shaped by our beliefs, our unhealed wounds, our unconscious expectations, our habitual ways of seeing and responding to the world. And until those inner signals change, the outer circumstances have a way of reconstructing themselves around the same themes. The good news, and this is important, is that recognizing this dynamic is the first and most essential step toward changing it. The fact that you can see, clearly and honestly, that you are attracting the same energy again tells you something crucial. It tells you that the work to be done now is not more external work. It is interior work. It is the work of going inward and asking with real honesty what part of you is still calling this in. And then, with patience and courage, doing the deeper clearing that changes the signal you are sending out into the world. If this message is resonating with your sign right now, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it sends exactly the right signal at exactly the right moment. And you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support, whether as a subscriber or as a member of this community, is what keeps these messages alive. The ones that touch hearts, awaken minds, and transform lives. If this video has been making sense to you, drop in the comments the day you were born. Let us keep going. Sign 6. A relationship dynamic that has caused pain before is showing up in a new form. You have been in this kind of relationship before. Not this specific relationship, not with this specific person, but with this dynamic. This particular quality of give and take, or give and give without receiving. This particular way that the balance tips. This particular kind of emotional territory that you navigate, the way hope and frustration live side by side, the way you find yourself explaining your needs and then doubting whether you have the right to have them, the way you feel most clearly like yourself one moment and most clearly lost the next. The faces change. The circumstances shift. But the core of the dynamic, the emotional architecture of it, is something your body recognizes with an immediacy that your mind might still be trying to rationalize. And Aries, you are not naive. You are one of the most perceptive people in the room always. You see things quickly and clearly, which means that part of you has already noticed. part of you has already registered the familiar shape of this new relationship, even while another part of you has been finding reasons to look away from what you see. The part of you that looks away is not weak or foolish. It is simply the part that wants things to be different this time. The part that hopes, understandably and humanly, that the new packaging truly means new content. And sometimes it does. Sometimes people who carry familiar energies also carry genuine differences that make the experience something truly new. Discernment, real discernment, is required here, not the discernment that simply confirms what you fear, but the honest, open discernment that is willing to see both what is similar and what is genuinely different. What the universe is asking of you with this sign is to bring full consciousness to this relationship dynamic. Not to walk away from it automatically, and not to stay in it unconsciously either. To actually look at it. To ask yourself with kindness and without drama, what is truly here? To notice where your own patterns are at play, where you are doing the things you have always done that create the outcomes you have always experienced. And to ask what would happen if you did something different. Not dramatically different. Not a performance of change, but genuinely, quietly, internally different. What if you responded from your truth instead of your habit? What if you asked for what you need without apology? What if you held your own ground not with anger but with calm, clear certainty? The dynamic changes when you change. It always does. And you, Aries, have more capacity for change than you have sometimes allowed yourself to believe. Sign 7. You keep making exceptions for behavior you told yourself you would no longer accept. There was a line you drew. Maybe you drew it clearly in a specific conversation or decision. Maybe you drew it quietly in your own heart, in the private space of your own knowing. Either way you drew it, you told yourself, this is not something I will accept anymore. This is not something I will allow in my life, in my relationships, in my world. You meant it when you said it. The fire in you was behind it. And for a while you held the line. But then the exceptions began. Small ones at first. Reasonable ones even. Ones with explanations attached to them. Context that made the lapse feel understandable rather than significant. And then more exceptions. Each one a little easier to justify because you had already made the one before it. And now you look up from the accumulation of all these exceptions and realize that the line you drew is very far behind you, and the behavior you said you would no longer accept has been quietly reinstated in your life. Aries, this is one of the most common ways that patterns perpetuate themselves in the lives of people with your particular combination of qualities. Your fierce loyalty and your deep capacity for love make you want to believe the best. Your boldness and your fire make it easy to draw lines. But those same qualities, when they are not guided by clear, unshakable self-knowledge, can make the exceptions feel like generosity when they are actually self-abandonment. Making an exception is not always wrong. Compassion and understanding are not weaknesses. But there is a difference between making a conscious, eyes-open choice to extend grace in a specific situation, and habitually yielding the ground of your own standards because yielding feels more comfortable, or because you fear what holding the line will cost you in terms of the relationship or the situation. The question this sign asks you to sit with is a direct one. What did you promise yourself you would no longer accept? And are you accepting it? Not in the abstract, not in the territory of what you believe you deserve in theory, but in the actual daily reality of your life right now. If the honest answer reveals that the exceptions have become the rule, then you are at the exact center of this pattern. And the change available to you here is not about anger or dramatic declarations. It is about a quiet, firm, deeply self-respecting return to the line you drew. Not because you are punishing anyone, not because you are rigid, but because what you said you would no longer accept, you actually will no longer accept. And that decision, held consistently and with love for yourself, begins to change everything. Sign 8. There is a moment approaching that mirrors a turning point you have faced before. You can feel it coming. Maybe you cannot name it precisely or describe it with complete clarity, but you can feel the approach of something significant. A moment that will require something specific of you. A choice point, a crossroads, an event that carries more weight than the ordinary days around it. And underneath the feeling of its approach, you notice something else. The shape of it is familiar. The energy of it echoes something you have experienced before. You have had turning points in your life, Aries. You know what they feel like from the inside. The particular quality of heightened awareness. The sense that what happens in the coming days or weeks will matter in ways that regular time does not. The feeling that you are standing at the edge of something, And that which way you turn will have consequences you cannot yet fully see. The approaching moment that mirrors a previous turning point is the universe giving you a second chance. Not a second chance in the sense of correcting a mistake from the past, because your past choices, whatever they were, led you here, and here contains everything you have learned. But a second chance in the sense of being given the same essential choice with new eyes. Being offered the same fundamental question with more of yourself available to answer it. Last time you were at a similar turning point, you chose with the knowledge and the fears and the understanding that you had at the time. You made the best choice available to the person you were then, but you are not that person anymore. You have lived since then. You have grown. You have gathered experience and self-knowledge, and a kind of depth that only comes from having moved through difficult things and emerged from the other side of them. And now you are approaching a similar moment with all of that additional resource available to you. This is the gift of the returning pattern, Aries. It gives you a chance to meet the same essential territory with new capacity. And your capacity now is genuinely greater than it was before. Trust that. Bring everything you have learned to this approaching moment. Let your growth show up in how you meet it. Because this time the outcome does not have to be the same. Sign 9. Your emotions around a specific theme are disproportionately strong, as if they carry old weight. You have noticed it. A reaction that was bigger than the situation seemed to warrant. A feeling that hit with a force that surprised you even from the inside. An emotional response that carried more heat, more pain, more fear or anger or grief than the present moment alone could account for. And in a quieter moment afterward, you may have found yourself wondering, why did that hit so hard? Why does this particular thing, this particular topic, this particular kind of moment always seem to reach me so deeply? The answer, Aries, is that it does not just touch what is happening now. Touches what happened before. The emotion is large because it is not carrying only its present-day contents. It is carrying layered weight, the accumulated emotional residue of every time this theme appeared in your life and landed on you with impact. Every time this particular wound was pressed. Every time this specific fear was activated. Every time this exact kind of pain was felt and then tucked away rather than fully moved through. This is not a flaw. This is how human beings work. We carry our histories in our bodies, in our nervous systems, in our automatic emotional responses. And when the same theme keeps appearing in our lives, because the pattern keeps cycling through, the emotions around that theme build in weight and intensity. They become disproportionate to the present because they are carrying so much more than the present. Understanding this is both clarifying and deeply compassionate. Because when you can see that the size of your emotional response is about the accumulated weight of the pattern, and not just about today's situation, you can stop judging yourself for what feels like overreacting. You were not overreacting. You were feeling the full weight of a wound that has never been fully healed. And now, with this awareness, you have the opportunity to begin actually healing it. This means being willing to feel the emotion without running from it, without turning it into action to escape it, and without minimizing it by telling yourself you should be over it by now. The emotion knows what it is doing. It is asking for your full attention. It is asking you to finally sit with it long enough to understand what it is trying to tell you about the pattern and about what you still need in order to be free of it. Sign 10. A voice inside you keeps saying you know what to do, and you do. There is something extraordinary happening inside you right now, Aries, even in the middle of all this recurring difficulty, all this familiar terrain. There is a voice, not a loud voice, not the voice of urgency or panic or confusion. Those voices you know well enough. But a different voice, a quieter one, a voice that arrives in the still moments, the in-between places, the seconds of pause between all the noise of your daily life. And what this voice keeps saying plainly and clearly is, you know what to do. You do know. That is the truth of this sign. You have known for longer than you have been willing to admit. Some part of you, the deepest, most honest part, the part that has been watching this pattern cycle through your life for years and quietly accumulating wisdom from each pass, has arrived at a knowing that your surface mind has been avoiding because the knowing demands action. Because the knowing requires you to do something that is difficult and real and definitive. Because the knowing leads to a change that is genuinely new rather than comfortably familiar. The voice that says you know what to do is the voice of your truest self. And your truest self, Aries, is not afraid. Your truest self is the part of you that was present the first time you ever did something courageous, the first time you took a risk that mattered, the first time you stood up for something you believed in even when it would have been easier to stay quiet. That self has never left you. It has been with you through everything, and it is speaking to you clearly now. The only question is whether you are ready to listen. Not the distracted, half listening that keeps the voice at a safe distance, but the real, full, committed listening that leads to genuine action. The listening that says, I hear you, I trust you, and I am ready to act on what you are telling me. Because the voice inside you that keeps saying you know what to do is not confused. It is not uncertain. And neither are you, not really, not in the deepest part of yourself. And that is where your freedom begins. Sign 11. The pattern is showing you the exact point where you once chose one path, and where you can now choose a different one. Everything has been building to this. All of these signs, all of these returning dynamics and familiar tensions and echoing emotions, they have all been delivering you to this specific point. The point of choice. The exact place in the pattern where the road forks. Where one direction continues the cycle, where it perpetuates what has been, where it leads you through the familiar territory one more time with the same destination. And where the other direction, the one that has always been there even when you could not see it, leads somewhere genuinely new. You have been at this fork before, maybe more than once, and in those previous moments you chose the familiar road. Not because you were weak or foolish, not because you did not deserve better, but because you were who you were then, with the resources and the awareness you had at the time. And that was the right choice for the person you were in that moment because it brought you here, to this moment, to this higher level of awareness, to this version of yourself who can finally clearly see both roads. Aries, the fire in you has always been pointed forward. You do not look backward comfortably. You are not made for dwelling in the past or ruminating endlessly on what has been. You are made for moving, for acting, for going toward. And right now, that fire, that forward-oriented, bold, courageous fire of yours, is exactly what is needed. Because the different road, the road that breaks the pattern, requires the kind of courage that only Aries can summon from the deepest place. It requires the courage to disappoint someone, perhaps. The courage to risk a comfort that has become a prison. The courage to tell the truth to yourself first, and then to act from that truth, even when the action is uncomfortable. The courage to be, finally and completely, the person you have been building toward through every cycle of this pattern. The person who has learned everything the pattern has to teach, and who is now ready to graduate from it. The universe does not show you the fork in the road, unless you have the capacity to take the new direction. It does not give you the awareness of the pattern unless you are ready to break it. This is not a sign that more suffering is coming. This is a sign that the suffering has served its purpose, that you have gathered everything you needed to gather from this particular school, and that the next chapter of your life, the one that exists beyond this recurring pattern, is finally genuinely ready to begin. If this message resonated with your sign, trust that it is not a coincidence. When the universe wants to speak to you, it always sends exactly the right signal, and you are here because you needed to hear this today. Your support as a subscriber or as a member of this community is what keeps these messages alive. They are the messages that touch, awaken, and transform. If this video made sense to you, leave in the comments the day you were born. There is something deeply important about where you are right now, Aries. Not where you are in terms of the pattern, not in terms of the returning cycles or the familiar tensions, but where you are in terms of your own awareness. Because awareness is everything. Awareness is the single most powerful tool you have ever been given. And right now, yours is wide open. You have seen the signs. You have recognized the pattern in all its forms, in the familiar situations and the echoing relationships and the choices that look deceptively like new choices but carry the footprints of old ones. You have felt the tension and the disproportionate emotion, and the interior weight of what has not yet been fully processed. And you have heard the quiet voice inside you that has been saying all along, you know what to do. This is not the end of a hard chapter. It is the beginning of a free one. Because freedom is not the absence of difficulty. Freedom is the ability to meet difficulty with full consciousness, to stand inside the pattern and see it clearly, and to choose from that clear seeing a different response. Freedom is what becomes available when you stop running from the lesson and turn to face it with the full force of who you are. And who you are, Aries, is formidable. You have always been the one who goes first. The one who is willing to move into territory that others find too uncertain. And this, right here, this is the most important territory you will ever enter. The territory of your own interior. The landscape of your own patterns and wounds and accumulated wisdom. It requires the same fire that you bring to every external challenge. And it will reward you with something that no external achievement ever has, which is the experience of being genuinely free. The pattern is completing itself. This cycle is reaching its natural end. And on the other side of it, the side that your new choices will carry you to, there is a version of your life that you have not yet fully imagined because the pattern has been taking up the space where that imagining would live. Let it complete. Let it end. And let yourself walk forward into the wide open, genuinely new chapter that has been waiting for you all this time.